Hey everyone, thank you so much for joining Archangel Alts. We're going to do a very special live market watch for you, Crypto Market Watch Instant Insights. So here we are looking at Bitcoin traded against USDT, Tether representing the US dollar. And as you can see, this is the reason that I decided to jump on this and give an update. And doing it live is really the only thing that makes sense right now. So not at all unexpected, as long as you have a perspective on what you think is happening under the hood behind the scenes in the market. If you don't have that, you won't know what hit you when these things happen. Doesn't make it easy anyway, because if you're going to trade long, mid, or short term, doing day trading or swing trading, or just treat these like investments, every single trend matters. So in the short term, there is a certain safety to very cautiously going in, picking your position, grabbing what makes sense, and then getting out before the next one of these happens. Some very smart people that know what they're doing in the stocks will tell you, don't try to trade on the way down. It's just you're always going to get stuck on that next cliff, et cetera, et cetera. And I'll be the first to admit it's a very difficult thing to do. And that's one of the challenges about day trading. And there are a lot of people that are making their living doing day trading. So don't think that, that is where the issue is. The issue when you're, in a brokerage and you're trading on other people's behalf, you're looking at, what's going to put their kids through college, what's going to help their retirement plan, what's going to hedge against other, unexpected things, having some money managed where you promise not to touch it, other money where you expect it to mature over a very long time. What we're looking to do is a combination of the different things that make sense in your financing and your investing, and the things that make sense in your trading, and put those together into something that will hopefully have the anticipated results that we are on track for. So the main thing is, if you were to level this out, just grab all this stuff and just drag it up here and make it completely even. Obviously the ups and downs that are there, but trading on a baseline that remains steady instead of going down. And you can see that down has been steeper over here at a certain critical point in time, right in the middle of November. All of this, people were talking about, oh, this is the thing that's going to lead to the retracement and I'm like, are you kidding me? If you cannot see that this is not a natural pattern, you don't need to be pointing things out to other people. That's just kind of how that is. But wow, ENJ 135%. So it was just reinvigorated by this whole thing. So, it's already been going up. This is actually ever since Bitcoin went down, it went up. And we always have either, three things that are going to happen, obviously. Either something is picking up momentum at exactly the precise time when Bitcoin goes down and it is unaffected. Something that loses sync and, does its own thing, usually for the worse, is, if it does disconnect from Bitcoin. Things that go opposite of Bitcoin when it shoots up or down, and things that do exactly the same as Bitcoin when it goes down. The issue is that if it is in sync when Bitcoin goes down, and let me just choose one. This is, something that I find annoying. We don't hold anything back here. If something good happens, we're excited to share it. If something bad happens, we're not excited to share it, but that's how you learn from stuff. So, oh, help me. What was I looking at before? Was it Raven? I think it was. Yes. We're looking to clear at 289. So you can guess what happened here. Right? It did exactly what Bitcoin did. The problem is that Bitcoin came up very quickly, very briskly. And here, let me load it up again. I should actually get two different screens going on this, but I think it looks better, and we can talk our way through it, right? 38.41. Okay, all this week I've been saying I hope it can hold 38.50. If it's holding an average at 38.50, then it's healthy. That's a good thing. If it, goes up from there, I hope it doesn't go up too quickly. I don't think, unless something in the market changes dramatically, I think that these are the things that are going to make sense and matter. So we're going to zoom out just a little bit and look at what's been going on. I mean, nobody can think that this is like, oh, somebody put an article out saying that Bitcoin is good and they tweeted it to their friends. This must have been the reason for Bitcoin to... It takes tens of millions of persistent dollars over 7 hours they had to maintain this. It's not cheap. And yes, you can use FOMO to boost it. That's why pumps work. And let's not rub it in the face of regulation and just beg them to come in the picture. So here we are back at just 6 days ago. This is just over the week. I want to get to where it did that rise, yes, because it's going to look interesting in perspective. Okay, we have to go to the 30 minute. I don't mind dragging it a few through to be able to see the bigger picture, but I prefer not having to zoom out too much because you miss the nuance in between all these different time periods. But here we are, 3600s. And then here we were waiting and waiting and waiting until it could break 3700. This was a big sign that things were going to go up, right? So then people saw 3600 and they got scared. They didn't think that it was going to do what they were going to do. I was pretty much certain that this was just really all they needed for temporary shorting in order to be able to get up here. Okay, I didn't think that it would actually go this high, but looking at the 3700s, once we broke 3700, I expected it to go up quicker, and it did. Okay. In this range, we see it going all the way up to 3900. So when it broke 3900, my concern now is that it's not going to be able to average from this part. And it continued up past there to where we were wondering, when is it going to break 4,000? 4,000 is a much more impactful and important milestone than these, up 50, up 50, up 100, up 100s. So we broke 4,000 over here 5 days ago. And that was... let's see, that was, I want to see how long between the two, 221 to 223. Okay, so not quite 2 days. So we held 3,900, pretty much from 219 to 223. And then another, just huge boost, and this was even faster than what we saw over here. This what took hours. I think that, they waited exactly the right period of time to come up over here. I'll have fun kind of, in my downtime, I'll look and investigate what kind of things people are making up for the reasons for all this happening. Now, if things are genuinely happening in Korea or China, I believe it because there's enough people and they're right there at the cutting edge of the technology to where it can genuinely change it, not just with a pump, but backed by a whale. Backed by whales, not Prince Charles, not that kind of whales. The Bitcoin, lots of money. Okay, yes, I just did make whale sounds in the form of people with wealth who are large fish mammals. Okay, anyway, so we did not break 4,200, but we held up here. My concern is that you start to see this. And I'm always watching for the shape of the patterns because they speak to whether things are strengthening or weakening. I do not, draw your football strategy all on top of everything with little triangles and things. Fibonacci sequence is helpful and accurate, but people use it within the wrong periods of time to try to predict things that, even though old patterns show that certain things are going to retrace at certain points, it's also just perfectly logical. Things are going to move in 50s and 100s, and that's where people respond emotionally. So it's not quite as magical with the level of manipulation that's going on, but it does follow the same logic. So, I mean, if that's the kind of visual tools that work with you, that's fine. There's absolutely nothing wrong with using that. I'm absolutely pro Fibonacci, the way that it shows up in nature, the way that it kind of speaks to there being a design behind things. It's pretty phenomenal. So anyway, not to get too far off course, I'm just thinking in terms of being able to follow the patterns here. We see the sharper spike. This is a little bit more of a sign of strength. This started to concern me. It's starting to weaken. There is such a strong, self-perceived need for shorting that the kind of stability that is necessary in the market for the shift to work, for the other, $120 billion that isn't, the low point for Bitcoin right now, that symbiosis between the all of the other coins that are not the biggest coins. And I really am just talking about the ones that matter. If they even hold 10, 20, 30 Bitcoin worth of 24-hour volume, they matter to the market. They really do. People have, their $100 or their $1,000 sitting somewhere. It matters to that person. It may not matter to the billionaire. It may not matter to the people that are just, mining and back and forth in Bitcoin Cash or Bitcoin itself or Ethereum, their own projects. It matters its correlation. So I don't like the shorting. I do not like the thinking that stablecoins are a way to bring the economy into the decentralized coin economy. You need to have a better vision for what people in power do in order to understand what you see in the market. We're going to start adding a lot more important information for our advanced users and those that want to stick with this the long term. We are doing very extensive work to build out all of our information as we're completing the soft launch and trying to move into our first phase of paid subscribers and get our first 30, 40, 50 people in here. The community is starting to grow. It's really exciting, answering some more questions for people in comments and seeing you on the live chat, all the different things that we're hoping to see happen. In fact, let me make sure that I'm doing things correctly over here. So, looking good. Looks like the screen's doing what it's supposed to do. And I will keep an eye there every once in a while just to make sure that I'm seeing if anybody has any messages or questions. So very cool. Yaman is good. So hopefully this will get to some people that it'll be able to help in that process. And make sure that I'm not muted. Good. So 41.98, we did this climb up here. You see this strength here, so it could have gone higher. And I'll actually zoom in now that we are there. We saw it took the 2 days to get to this point. Strong movement. Even with this, there was a response to this, but now, I'm holding to the fact that it's done all this dramatic stuff, and it comes right back around to, when it went from 35 to 36 to 37, and then rose and went beyond what I was saying the average should be, and saying, I hope that it can hold 38.50. So 38.50 is where it needs to stay for about a week in order to be healthy. We did the really radical thing, went far beyond that, and then that gave plenty of room for shorting. And this is where I started to be concerned because, when you start to lose this spike and start to see the curve in the movement, it's still trying to spike up and then sell off and spike up and sell off, but it's losing momentum, and that you can see it in the volume, you can see it in the price. And so I was very concerned. Around here, I'm trying to get our positions cleared. We're getting closer to 87 to 288 to 289 is all we need to clear. And boom. And so it's almost like they know how to time it just so. You can see this easier the more we zoom in. It's still slightly sharp. And then, as it kind of curves up here, it's kind of curved and weak, getting smaller. And then there's an attempt to hold it up. Nope, it's going down. So 3777, which is ironic because if you go all the way back to where all this stuff started, okay, let's just look at where these were. Okay, there's 36, there's 39. Let me show you right here. Yep, this was the jump. It didn't go any further than that. It plateaued when it got beyond that point. So, this was I'm looking up here, I'm looking down here, and I'm still thinking, okay, that's great. It made it, it survived getting through the 3700s without trouble. Now I just want to see if it can average somewhere around here. The higher it goes, the more I'm concerned that the shorts are going to, reach the right point to do a sell-off. So, it works there's a circular process to make sense of how, trading back and forth, either to other pre-planned positions or using the stable coins, either trading the stablecoin to Bitcoin or trading Bitcoin to a stablecoin or using fiat if you're on a different exchange. And then, when it reaches a certain point, here's the big money for your shorts. And then, it took very little time to go from, oh, was it not? Huh, that's weird. I thought that it was 3777. This was saying 3712. Oh, that's because I had it on 2 hours. Yes. Okay. Isn't that interesting? That's the... Oh. Haha. Isn't that interesting? Yeah, I need to zoom out and get it to the place where that is 224 at 11. And there's our 3872. Okay. There's the point. It was 224. It was actually 11:30. We get it out of the hour. Sorry, this actually makes a bit of a difference to me because I thought that doesn't seem right to me. That doesn't seem right. I'm going to keep looking at this with you here because that just doesn't seem... Something seems off there. Okay, I got you. Now I know where we are. Okay. Thank you for being patient. Okay, so here, once again, we had this coming up and it was narrowing a little bit. It's starting to weaken here. Makes a gradual climb. And you can also see that here was the, is this the 240 million that we had? Yes, that's where that was. You can see most of that volume was a sell-off. And then we start coming back down to 142 million in volume, and then we had a little bit of a spike that's already gone back down again. You can see here whether it is going up or down currently, and I'm guessing that it's probably still losing volume. 152,000 is the part that I'm watching. Okay, so there's a buy-in going on. That's okay. All right. So it's very interesting. It did come up from 3777. That was the right number. The last time over there, it was 3712. So I got thrown off by looking at too long of an expanse, the 2-day expanse we got from the 2-hour candles. So I apologize for that. So we very, very, very quickly came back up to 3809. So what do you guess my hope for this after all of that drama, after all of that? What do you think I'm still thinking in terms of Bitcoin and its current value? I hope it can maintain 3850. That's my song for this week. So, I mean, you would never think that, just hitting, 4100 and making it seem as if we could hang in there. It's still going to be, here we are again, trying to see whether we can hold at 38 so that we can make it back up to 3850 and maintain there for more than 2 days. That's the whole story right there. I mean, that really is the whole thing right there. So let's look now at how it's affecting things. The ENJ, I'm sure there's something out there giving a reason for what's going on here. Maybe they had a mainnet thing. Maybe they have, ENJ 2.0. I'm not going to research it right this second, but if it goes on for 3 or 4 more days, then I'll put it to the top of the list of doing the coin analysis on there. RCN has been having a lot of strong days, so I kind of need to cover that too. Loom has kind of come to the top of the list recently, but it might just be because people see it there when it got spiked. So it's kind of a nice way of saying that it was pumped, but I don't know if it was pumped. Really happy to see that one happen. So Steam is one that responded in the opposite direction of the dip, the sell-off, the big short. DNT is starting to head in that direction. That's nice because it has a lot lower volume. It has further to go there. Now, actually, I mean, I would be showing where our positions are in this stuff, but I'm right now I'm trading on the laptop. I got both things set up on the laptop. When I'm in a different work mode where I'm trying to get a whole bunch of different back-end stuff done, I like to be a little bit less officey, a little bit more relaxed while I'm researching a whole bunch of stuff and trying to tag things and hashtag and set up things for the subscribers group information that'll be exclusive for them. ONT, that's really good. It's holding in the 2500s. We really want to see it be able to break through 2800 and get into the 3s and 4s and 5s. So that'll be really good for it. Oh yeah. GTO. Coin or car? You decide. It's doing okay. It'll be alright. It got hurt a little bit, but not too bad. Bitcoin's at 3804. We'll see if it's going to continue to do a climb. Usually at some point there's a response spike. So most likely we'll see that at some point. A lot of these look pretty much what I would expect to see. Raven is starting to recover a little bit again. So now we've got to make up 5659 in order for our own to clear. And then beyond that, I've got a massive way to go from our very early Raven. You know, one of my few that I'm actually concerned about a little bit, but not really concerned because we're going to earn our way beyond the damage that it could have done. But there's a chance that Raven will exceed its earlier successes. It's had kind of an interesting time. They chose a weird time to launch and a weird time to list on Binance. So I think that has a lot to do with it because people were very, very, very gung-ho. They didn't seem like they were spammy about their interest in Raven coin, which is Raven coin. That is correct. So that got hurt. ICX did exactly what something that remained in sync the whole time would do. So if we look at the value of, let's see, is that, yeah, it's a 4-digit. I would guess that the 4 digits probably got hurt worse than some of the others, but okay. Interesting thing to do here. Let me look at some things that are of not that big volume. Something sort of higher volume. Theta coin. Yes. Perfect example. Okay, so you can see it's a 4-digit coin, you know, 1, 2, 3, 4 zeros and then 4 numbers, and that's how you get into the tens category in pennies. So that's worth 11 cents now. But it was holding very strong. One of our users, Ezio, he was doing very well, getting a lot of positions in Theta today, so he was very happy about that. And that was good. So I'm hoping that this didn't hurt anything because, you know, this looks like a good pattern for somebody that's looking to, you know, they're getting comfortable in here, they're getting comfortable in here. Let's hope that something didn't need to sell right there because that's the kind of subtle thing that the Bitcoin moves can harm positions, you know, in order to cover one thing and hurt something else. IOST has really been having a tough time, and we got so close. I mean, this is great movement, you know. Here is the breakout. I mean, you couldn't have called something more beautiful like that. You know, here's the climb up. Did exactly what we're hoping to see. Exactly what we're hoping to see. Guess where I needed mine to clear? Just guess. I had mine set at 207 and 208. I should have been following my own rule using the rule of the principle of thirds, which we have not gone into yet. So this was kind of recovery period. It was still weakening a little bit, but you know, you can see the weakening here too, and then beautiful. So I'm kind of hoping that there's like going to be a bit of a mirror effect, and we might see, I mean, if it does, this mirrors this dip to spike, but what I'm hoping is that maybe this will get done with what it's doing, get into its own pattern, and then it'll get another spike. And if that other one is oh, it's probably going to take 3 or 4 more cycles, and you can see it here, and you can see it here, and you can see it here. So I would like to see IOST. It's just because it's recent, it gets on my nerves. Okay, so of course we called exactly what's going on with waves. It's going to be hitting that 73, 7400 range again. I'll hopefully not just call it, but actually make use of the fact that I'm calling it right and get in on it the next time. That would be smart, wouldn't it? Okay. Oh yeah. All right. Here's ELF is another example of a 4-digit. I think yes, it is a 4-digit. Well, now isn't that interesting? It did not sync. Oh, yes, it did. Okay, that's what we thought. All right, so yeah, it's very interesting, but things of certain values respond to Bitcoin in certain ways. So, certain moves, when it has been settling in at a certain value and it's worth a certain volume in the amount of trading, and it's been sitting at something for a while, when it takes a dip, it either affects the ones that are only, 3 decimals, or it affects the ones that are only 4 decimals or 5 decimals. And obviously there's a scientific reason for the value to be linked to that directly. I recognize it from patterns, not so much indicator patterns, but just patterns, looking at things. I have one of those visual science-y kind of brains. So lots of arts and music and looking at audio waves for thousands of hours for work stuff, passion/work. All right. So let me see how some of the other guys are doing. These are things that were lighting up green, and now the greens are much more shallow, except for you guys. What's up with you? That's just crazy. Yeah, I mean, there's a correlation to certain coins. I think EOS, Neo, Gas, ONT. There's a correlation. DNT, it's got a ways to go. Got a ways to go to really prove itself. Myth and Steam, we want to see a lot more happen there, not just because of our own positions, but because we want to see these projects do well. So we were much happier when OST was making its way up here. It'll be a long time before, I think we have the majority of our stuff cleared out there. It's not so much about that as it just wanting to see the healthy volatility. What does healthy volatility look like? Well, like that. Yeah, for sure. That, yeah, that's good. I mean, if I know to look out for something like this, I can trade it on the way down. I can do that. Very, 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 very cautious with all of my positions right now, because we are getting into that range where Bitcoin has been sitting in its halved position in a bear market for a while, and we've been trading this stuff for a while. So all of our careful positions are having to build up against our very few holds that we've got. And we'd like to see a turnaround on some of this stuff. See some of the right coins, break out and just do their thing. We've been very close within, 10, 20% on things that have dropped 60%, 50%, 60%. So, the up is a very short distance compared to what is done before. Just letting you see all these different things in comparison to, once again, we're going to look at this one more time. In fact, here's USDS. Here's what Bitcoin looks like in comparison to USDS. So it's interesting. You can see how the values correlate to each other. There's a lot of buy and sell happening. Bitcoin at 38.11, so it's making it up gradually. I would almost... I'm kind of thinking that just when it looks like it's about to climb up to our average again, it's going down again. We'll see. USDT, kind of the real staple value of Bitcoin, where it is right now. You can see Pax has it at 37.96. You can see that USDS has it at 37.85. But I bet you it is probably higher on market cap, market wide right now. 142 million. That's $100 million less than when it was really picking up volume, but a lot of that volume was sell off. So I'm only going to make predictions on things that I understand as a combination of the fundamentals and what I see in front of myself. And just if my instinct is telling me, you know, this is exactly what you need to tell people is going on, I'll do that. I'm not going to be one of those guys that say, you know, it is very clear to me that because of this retracement and because of the compounding bloop bloop of the things and the stuff, when I draw this triangle, you can clearly see that it's either going to go up, stay the same place for a while, or go down. There's absolutely no question. You know, and if it retraces over here, then, you know, it's absolutely guaranteed that it's either going to hit 35.55 or 41.29. Mark my words, it's going to be somewhere within that range for sure. Okay, you just guaranteed it's going to do everything you just said. No matter what you say, it'll be right. All right, so just taking a look at the stablecoin side of things. Isn't that interesting? That puts Satoshi's Vision at top. Huh. And then Link, and then XRP, ONT, ICX, and Waves all doing well against the stablecoins. This the most. Isn't that interesting? I'll have to do some investing. I mean, I think, eat, and dream and trade in, you know, as it correlates to Bitcoin. And I really cannot, I mean, it's dangerous for me to try to recalibrate that towards exactly what's happening in the other stuff. Do you see how quickly this has shifted to almost all green? I mean, when we first started doing this, it was, you know, lighting up a lot more reds. And Bitcoin's just now come up $14 when the drop that it did was substantial. It was big. So, you know, we tend to try to choose the right combination of volume and value for the kind of movement that we're looking for, things that you can do over and over again, things that aren't so unpredictable and, oh, wow, yeah, I could have gotten that. You know, things that you know what they're going to do. Unfortunately, some of those are the ones that don't fare well when the crazy stuff happens, you know, the knee-jerk type stuff. So it looks like TNT might be kind of getting back in there a little bit. This was a little bit rough. This was a little bit rough. I want to see the momentum in some of these coins. I want to see them just really get in the game. You know, Poe, we're not losing anything on it, but I want to see it strong in the 130s. You know, I mean, this looks healthy, but I mean, if you were in it before, you know, all the crazy, I mean, you can see where people's expectations were here. Now they're stuck here. They didn't get up. So they could take a small loss and try to get in again, but then there it goes again. So unless you were in here, you know, you were able to wait from here to here, yeah, probably not. In fact, if we did look at the MA on that, just really not, you know, people put way too much trust in this. But yeah, I'm curious to see, you know, yeah, I mean, I get it. But no, that's nothing to me then. Once you add the VWAP into there and you've got your Bollingers, you have way more valuable information there. Okay. Don't touch the timing or anything. So Encash just cannot break out of this mold that it's stuck in. But, you know, we got almost to 48. That wasn't a real 48 there. We have ours like up to 60, but I think 49 to 51 is that range that we're looking for. That'll let us know that it's going to finally get up there. Data, where'd you go? Elusive data. Yeah, things are really shifting around. Very interesting, very exciting time. I'm going to get some important office and website and video organization and tweeting stuff ready So I should actually probably let people know that we're doing this. So give me just a second. Don't worry, almost done. All right. So this is kind of nice to see this. You know, it's now starting to link up with what's going on with Bitcoin. So it's very exaggerated. You know, Bitcoin wasn't here and then here. This movement is accurate, and this movement over here is accurate. But, you know, they sync up in weird ways, and you look for the patterns and try to decide what is, you know, very quickly try to decide what is the effect going to be on my positions. I like yo-yo, so I hope it can do well. We don't have anything, you know, invested in it right this second. We'll go back in when it's the right time. Ion just got a ways to go. Oh wow, wish I knew that happened. That's pretty interesting. So if you went in low on Ion, you got your wish. Interesting. Very interesting. BCED, I don't even want to talk to you right now. I do think that there could be a future for Bitcoin Diamond. We'll see. You know, don't be a hater until you know the whole story. Let's see. BTT, oh people. I hope that you can get your money from something if it spikes. But I don't feel like Mr. Sun cares a whole heck of a lot. So yeah, this is something that, you know, that's very cool. You know, if you just happen to be in the right place at the right time, those little mega dips can serve you well. Still going up. What is going on with the NJ? I think we're going to have to find out, don't you? So, would like to see Fuel be able to get back in the game. Would like to see Fun get back into the game. It's losing its ground. I don't know what's fun about that. Doesn't look very fun to me. It needs to go up. Upwards coin. IOST is having trouble getting back in there. So, you know, these coins, when their volume shifts, it can be rough for it to resync and get back in there. So we actually have ours right at 207. I mean, at 206 would be perfectly fine. You know, the 1 hour that I slept is when it hit 206 and then started coming back down. So we actually would have made a profit if it actually just, I mean, we had some at 206 that it didn't clear, so I know for a fact it didn't hold in there long enough, so I really don't feel bad. It'll be all right. Just gotta wait it out a little bit longer. It definitely makes a case for having, you know, a very strong circulation. If you are serious about making millions in cryptocurrency, trading crypto. Our methods are right. We are doing it the absolute most challenging way humanly possible. Doing it through the trials of life, doing it through, not having a gazillion dollars to start with. Plus, we had to test and create the process and the system. So it is a very valuable thing you're getting if you decide to join along with us at Archangel Alts. If you're watching on YouTube, please subscribe, ring the bell, get in touch with us, give us a thumbs up, let other people know about us. Tweet, Facebook, all that kind of fun stuff. ONG is the most recent stuff. It's hanging in there pretty well, establishing itself. ONT 2500, I would like for it to be able to sustain in here long enough to start going up. I'd like the next time it goes up to be, 2800, 30, in the 3s and then the 4s and the 5s. OSD is breaking out of the 595 and starting to come back up again, so that's pretty cool. We have a long way to go for our, we cleared most of ours, but some of the higher positions, actually it might just be one high position. I'll have to refresh on that. REN been having some difficult times. REQ, some difficult times. We want to see the volume get up on those, and when the volume gets up, they'll start doing better. So that's a good range right there. That's nice. This was kind of a tricky time to get in, especially with the low volume happening there. You really should be able to see healthier movement in these when they get above 300 BTC and 24-hour circulation volume. But a steady $250 million of up and down in Bitcoin is, the beginning of a healthy environment for these coins. So it's, they are reliant on the amount of people and the amount of activity trading with Bitcoin. A healthy Bitcoin becomes a healthy altcoin. It's a good coupling that's there. Is just it needs to be embraced by people that understand the economics behind it. So we're actually, going to focus a lot, with a paid group. It's reoccurring $99 a month. Not $2,000, not a Bitcoin or half a Bitcoin. We're very, very, very reasonable when it breaks down to about $3 a day to stick with us and ask your questions, learn the charts, learn the indicators. We're going to show you things that you're not going to get from other people. We have an analysis that is both creative and mathematic, visual, but you can also follow it just from the numbers alone. And I'm sure that some of you can, get even much better than me with certain elements of that and, chart your own course, learn your own processes, develop your own system around the money that you have, test things, carefully, and then dive in where it makes sense. And, we're just going on our own experience and based around the fact that we've tested things with a ridiculous level of accuracy. It's not really something you can explain with statistics or test table probabilities. It just doesn't make sense that way, that we're, maintaining anything over 90%, let alone over 80%. I saw somebody bragging on their bot that you can set it and forget it, and it, is holding at 77% accuracy, which is unbelievably high for a bot. But that also means that you have to, set your stop losses in that 27% of the time for, catching things at a much lower loss than the percentages that you're making off of those 77%. So, they'll say 300% profit. And no, it's just not true. It's a lie. It's not true. None of them are doing that. People that are doing hundreds and hundreds of trades, they're making 200% and losing 120%, 130, 140, 150%. And the problem is that they're doing that based on, margin loan trading. You get 10x, 100x, depending on how much money you dump onto the exchange. And so they're leveraging these moves and, because the margins are just good enough, they're pretending like, they made 100% on something on $100 trade, but that $100 trade was like a $10,000 trade at margin. So, how did I do it? I don't have to tell you about that part. I just tell you the result. Here, look, this is what it did. It's like, well, yeah, but I mean, the majority of that trade was just you getting a loan and it doing, 3% on, 10x that you borrowed on top of your trade. So that's really not, that's not, no. So, you do have highs and lows. You do have the ups and downs in the trading process. It does get extremely challenging. There will be days, there will be even weeks that are much weaker than other times, but we have a process that is, designed to weather all this crazy volatility. In fact, it's designed to take advantage of it. And it only works if, you have that strange X factor, whatever it is, not the Simon kind, but, the other X factor, the kind that was a word before it was a show. That hidden element that is a little bit on the indescribable side. Speaking of which, look at data. This is kind of interesting. You come out to the 2 hour and just, it's got very interesting natural movement there. It's kind of cool. Good stuff. All right, guys, I'm going to come back around over here to Bitcoin one more time. And if you came in late, then please go back and watch the whole thing. I think you'll find it interesting. There's little nuggets of stuff in there. I don't think that it's ready to bounce. It's not really mine to say, but my hope for Bitcoin is that it can maintain around 3850. That's where it would be telling the market that it's healthy for now. But I think that just the pump and, it's not really pump and dump. It's pump and then short it, pump and then short it. So, I think that cycle is going to continue. I don't think that anybody's just going to give us a sudden present and say, here's all of your new, mass adopters coming here to trade. But that really is what needs to be happening. The value of Bitcoin going up will trigger, it'll probably trigger some really bad stuff immediately followed by some really good stuff. So, it becomes a bigger and bigger challenge for our old positions, our HODLs, but the long term is good. So, we have, I would say, right up to here, over and over again, we see just kind of break off points for things that, this is right around the turn of the year, right? Yes. Okay. So, yeah, I think that myth at a healthy 1500. Let me see where Steam is. I don't know why I choose to look for specific things once I've taken it out of alphabetical mode. Okay, it just kind of becomes a fun challenge, and I'm looking at everything along the way. This is shifting so much, guys. This is a really big difference, and I just hate seeing the ones that are falling down there. But ebb and flow, our two friends of volatility. IOSD at the very bottom of the list. Oh, you poor thing. Okay, well, nowhere to go but up, my friend. Nowhere to go but up. Yeah, we needed it 207 is where we're looking for. It was 1 away. So it's not like we really called it wrong. It's just, this drag on the market, man. Let's see. Technically you have to say that you called it wrong because it's not cleared, but it went right to the number that you were thinking it was going to do, and then it was like, oh, I can't fight Bitcoin anymore. Bitcoin, bring me down, bring me down. Okay, Steam does still actually exist somewhere. Is that correct? Aha! Good for you. Still not really all that big of a deal in comparison, though. So we really want to be able to see it be strong at 1200, and it's got a ways to go. But, it's not unreasonable, around here. You can see that it did this from recovering from the valley, but this was in there, this was in there. All these things could have been happening up here if it wasn't for the effect that the hard fork happened, that the hard fork had on the market. Okay, glad it looks like I muted correctly. Okay, so, yeah. And this was back, not really even all that far. It's not like it was right after the 19,000 Bitcoin thing. This was already, August, still holding at 15,000. So it's an entirely different decimal. 8,000, 15,000. I mean, I think that it's perfectly reasonable to expect it in the 1,200, 1,300 range. I think it's an important project. Keep your eyes on Steam. I don't have any affiliation with them. I signed up just to see how all of their stuff works. But, you know, hopefully they're not just a rotten group of guys, and, you know, I'm just like wasting so much time promoting them. I'll have to check them out. But they have the right idea for what comes next. What is the effect, the impact that it's not just blockchain technology. It needs to be the specific branding of different coins. And that's something that, well, okay, we'll talk about it in the going over the economics stuff. All right, guys. I think we're good. Careful trading. Don't fall off the cliff. If something's gone really low, check your Bitcoin first. Look at the trends on Bitcoin first before going back in, so you don't get stuck at the bottom and you don't get stuck at the top. That's my best advice for now. I'm not a professional. I don't have certification of any kind. Take my advice, don't take my advice. It's your decision. But we've been doing pretty good. So I hope this has been interesting, if not helpful, hopefully both. And we'll be working on the next one right around the corner. Thank you so much for joining us. Please give us your questions, comments, join, subscribe, ring the bell, get notifications, comment, join our group. Let's start doing the subscription thing. You know, the reoccurring 99. We're going to be doing extremely advanced stuff in the trading, you know, talking over all the different principles, things that, you know, we just ask that you join us for the journey. You know, we're going to be looking and learning together through the whole process. All right, guys. For now, Archangel Alts out.